I have the tea, guys. I have the tea. I know what happened between Valverde Tchouaméni and Federico Valverde because I have spoken to my sources. I've spoken to sources that have very close relations with the Real Madrid locker room itself. I know what was said in the incident. I know what happened. But first, guys, I want to break down the information that journalist, El Chiringuito journalist, Eduardo Aguirre, also known as Edu Aguirre, also known as Ronaldo's boy. I want to break down the information that he gave on the incident because it goes hand in hand with the information that was given to me, and it kind of helps break down things in chronological order. So let's just check this out first.
A mí lo que me cuentan es que cuando se produce la pelea, Mbappé no está.
By the way, guys, this is important to point out real quick because I've seen so much misinformation being thrown left and right. You need to understand that I've never seen the Real Madrid landscape be at the level that it's at right now. Never. Like, the amount of fake news that are being thrown left and right is crazy, especially about this guy, especially about Kylian Mbappé. Kylian Mbappé, you need to understand that Kylian Mbappé is not only the biggest name in the squad, but he's arguably the biggest name in the entire sport. So when your name has so much weight to it, it's going to create more clicks than a player like Dani Ceballos. Dani Ceballos had an incident with Arbeloa. They clashed. They argued. The media didn't really give a shit. It didn't have the same amount of spotlight. Why? Because let's be real, nobody really cares about Dani Ceballos like that. But when a player like Kylian Mbappé comes into the equation, the press is just going to run with it. Any story that they can fabricate, it's going to create clicks whether it's true or not. So just be skeptical out there. Be careful with what you read. Just keep in mind that Kylian Mbappé had nothing to do with this situation.
Ayer hay un enfrentamiento, hay una entrada dura de Valverde a Tchouaméni.
Okay, real quick, you need to understand that there's a World Cup in a month. There's a World Cup this summer, so players are a lot more sensitive to the idea of getting injured. So when a teammate of yours is coming at you in practice, in a drill that's supposed to be non-full intensity, obviously it's going to raise eyebrows.
Lo que hace Tchouaméni es mirarle un poco con mala cara, llegan al vestuario y se enzarzan. A mí me contaron que al final acaban ellos dos hablando y medio solucionándolo.
Okay, hold on, real quick. Here, Edu explains how they eventually found a resolution. But what you need to understand to really understand the context of everything that's going on, everything that happened, this was an incident that took place over the span of 2 days, not just one. Because when the news that they clashed came out, and then the day after the news that Tchouaméni apparently punched Valverde, I thought it was just more news on the incident that happened the day before. No, this was an incident that took place on day 1, and then day 2, another incident took place. So just keep that in mind because it's important to understand the context of this situation.
O que no lo solucionan, no lo solucionan tanto. Hoy, en el partidillo, Fede Valverde hace una entrada muy dura, pero dando al balón, da balón, pero va con mucha más intensidad de la que estaba viendo en el partidillo. Entonces Tchouaméni entiende que son porrencillas de lo que ocurrió ayer. Tchouaméni flipa.
Of course he's gonna lose his shit. Of course he's gonna lose his shit. Tchouaméni has every right to lose his shit. I mean, you need to understand that Tchouaméni is one of the calmest and coolest players I've ever seen. He's very eloquent in the way that he speaks. This is very out of character, and from the information that was told to me, Tchouaméni was actually very calm on the first day of the incident because he was more confused than anything. He didn't understand why Valverde was coming at him like that. We'll talk about that once we get past this Edu Aguirre video, but I can tell you right now that it doesn't matter how calm you are, how cool you are, everybody has a limit. Everybody has a limit. I think Valverde crossed the line, and that's why this situation escalated.
Tchouaméni dice, oye, no puedes ir así cuando no ha sido así en todo el ejercicio ni nadie está teniendo esa intensidad de jugarnos la vida. Pasa lo que pasa en el partidillo, que Fede Valverde va muy fuerte, acaba, entra en el vestuario y algo se dicen que vuelven a engancharse. O sea, el golpe que se lleva Fede Valverde es un golpe muy fuerte.
Yeah, of course. It was a strong hit. You need to understand that nowadays, traumatic head injuries are taken very seriously. CTE is a real thing. Head injuries are taken very seriously, and this is why Fede Valverde is going to miss El Clásico, but I think he would have missed El Clásico anyways. Because Tchouaméni's not gonna play in El Clásico, but Tchouaméni's not injured. The club is disciplining both players, and I agree with it. This is embarrassing. This situation is crazy. This locker room drama that we're seeing day after day after day, it's embarrassing. Like, we can't have this. This is Real Madrid. This cannot be happening. So I'm glad that the club is taking action. It just kind of sucks that they're not going to be in El Clásico. Even though we don't have anything to play for, how are you not going to want to beat Barca at their own home when they can win the league in front of your own noses? But yeah, guys, what a time to be alive. What a time to be a Real Madrid fan right now. I'm telling you, I've never seen the Real Madrid media landscape be at the level that it's at right now. What we just saw from Edu Aguirre basically explains the chain of events or the chronological order of what led to Fede Valverde's head injury. There's a lot more information that he gave on the live, so if you want to check out the Chiringuito Live. The link is in the description if you want more information on the incident. But the information that I have is basically about what was said between the two players. And you need to understand that once I was told this, I understood why there is such a divide in the locker room. And no, the problem in this divide is not Kylian Mbappe. It's not Dictator Mbappe. You can complain about Dictator Mbappe this, Dictator Mbappe that. Has nothing to do with Kylian Mbappe. It has to do with Xabi Alonso. It has to do with Xabi Alonso, but we'll get to that in a second because I want to go in chronological order. Now, from what I was told, day one of the incident, Fede Valverde was in a mood. I don't know why, but in practice, he was targeting the shit out of Tchouaméni. Now, the reason why Fede Valverde was angry that day, specifically at Tchouaméni, is very speculative. We don't actually have an answer for that. From what my sources told me, however, they have been rifting apart from each other for a couple months now. They've had an ill feeling between the two for a couple months, and I think that this incident was just a bunch of boiled up emotions that they had for each other that eventually just blew up in their faces. That is my theory on the situation. But again, day one of the incident, Valverde is targeting Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni calls out Valverde, and that's when the confrontation starts. They get in a heated argument, they get in each other's faces, eventually they hatch it out, and it seems like they came to a resolution. And that's when everybody goes home. Now, once everybody goes home, a couple of hours later, the press breaks the news that they got into a fight at the Real Madrid training ground. And this is a very important factor because this is what causes the situation to escalate on the second day. So when the two meet again in practice the next day, Fede Valverde is once again targeting the shit out of Tchouaméni. And at this point, Tchouaméni's not going to be Mr. Nice Guy anymore. I told you guys, everybody has a limit. Tchouaméni loses his shit. And that's when the second incident happens, when the second clash happens. And during this clash, a lot of things were said. Valverde accused Tchouaméni of leaking to the press that they had an altercation. He accused them of being a rat. Which, listen, in my humble opinion, when you have a fight with your teammate like that, there's a lot more eyes seeing the rift between you two. Like, how can you just assume that it's Tchouaméni who's leaking into the press? It could have been anyone. And from what I've been told, the sources that I've been told, is that there is no trust in the locker room right now. Nobody trusts anybody because nobody knows who is leaking things to the press. Dani Carvajal is the first captain of Real Madrid, but Dani Carvajal has been in and out of the squad all season long. Fede Valverde has been the captain. So for you to be the captain of Real Madrid and for you to act like this and accuse one person when it could have been just anyone, I think it's very childish. So listen, during this incident, on day two of the incident, when they are clashing again and Valverde is accusing Tchouaméni of being a rat, Tchouaméni's clapping back. The things that Tchouaméni said to Valverde, to me, explains the entire situation in the locker room right now. Because while Fede Valverde was accusing Tchouaméni of being a rat, Tchouaméni was accusing Fede Valverde of being one of the culprits that ruined the season for Real Madrid. Tchouaméni accused Fede Valverde of being unprofessional with Xabi Alonso, of not giving Xabi Alonso a chance. He accused them of being one of the reasons why Xabi Alonso was fired. And when they gave me this piece of information, everything made sense all of a sudden. Because I see people left and right again complaining about Dictator Mbappe this, Dictator Mbappe that. Mbappe's not the problem here, bro. The problem is that Xabi Alonso came in and there was a huge divide in the locker room of those who believed in Xabi Alonso and those who didn't. And that created a huge divide in the locker room because there are players in the locker room right now, including Kylian Mbappe, who believe that there's a half of the locker room that completely took a dump on the season that Real Madrid could have had with Xabi Alonso. So as easy as it is to blame Mbappe for everything, blame Mbappe this, it's the easy thing to do. I get it. We won the Champions League, he joined, and we haven't won a trophy in 2 years. I get it. It's the easy thing to do. But when you actually look at the bigger picture, the problem that there is in the locker room right now goes far beyond Mbappe. As a matter of fact, it has nothing to do with Mbappe. It has to do with how much commitment the players showed at the beginning of the season and how that made other players in the locker room feel. Because listen, I also received information of who in the locker room was in favor of Xabi Alonso and who in the locker room was against Xabi Alonso. And that's a video that I'm going to make another time because I want to focus on this specific incident right now. But this is the reason why this club is in shambles right now. This is the reason why this locker room does not get along. And it's a mess. The press was trying to sell us that Arbeloa fixed the issues in the locker room, man. Listen to me, bro. If you think that Arbeloa did a good job at Real Madrid just because he beat Mourinho, Guardiola, and Simeone in 1 month, Bro, wake up, bro. The guy lost to Albacete. He couldn't beat Mallorca, Girona, Getafe at home, bro. Like, I'm not even going to go down the list because it's going to piss me off. If you think Arbeloa deserves to stay as Real Madrid coach, you don't know ball. Because if you think that he recovered the good feeling in the locker room, no, the good feeling in the locker room was never recovered. The only thing that was recovered was Vinicius Jr. Now, if you like Arbeloa out there, it's probably because you're a Vini fan. And because nothing else makes sense. The only good thing Arbeloa did in this Real Madrid team is recover the best version of Vinicius Jr. And what did it amount to? Nothing. Nothing, because Vini didn't show up against Bayern Munich. No. This project was ruined when people in the locker room decided to go against Xabi Alonso. And if you have to pinpoint one moment that changed everything in the season, that turned everything to shit, I think it's pretty clear which moment it is. But yeah, guys, I've been watching football for slightly over 20 years now. 20 years watching the sport, 20 years being a Real Madrid fan, and in my 20 years of Real Madrid fandom, I have never seen what I'm seeing right now. This civil war that's going on in the locker room, this divide, this drama, the news that are dropping, I've never seen anything like it. Not even during the first Mourinho era. Because the first Mourinho era, on the last year of Mourinho he created a civil war within the locker room. But it wasn't the players against the players, no, it was the players against the coach. That's the last time I've seen anything remotely close to what we're seeing right now. But what we are seeing right now is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And listen, it's really sad that Fede Valverde and Valverde Tchouaméni are not going to play against Barca this weekend. I know that we don't have anything to play for, but you really want to lose to Barca? Let's be real. Like, it's really sad that they're not going to be playing. But I can tell you right now, if we get 5-0'd in the weekend, if we lose 5-0 to Barca, it won't be half as embarrassing as what's going on with this Real Madrid locker room.